Very good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Once again, a very good morning, everyone. So let us start the last day of our PGCET coaching classes session. So today you will have two sessions, one on general knowledge and the other one is on the computer awareness program. So here, what we are going to do is first 1 hour. So I'll be taking you through some of the important general knowledge aspects. And later on, from 11 o'clock onwards, you will have a session on computer awareness. So, as already I have told you, when it comes to general knowledge, so we'll be discussing the questions and answers. So, in this session, I have got many questions which are related to current affairs and the various other aspects of the general knowledge. So, let us go through the questions one by one. So, wherever you can recollect and tell me the answer, or wherever you know the answer, you can put the answer in the chat box. So, rest of the things we will just have a glance with regard to all the aspects of the general knowledge. So can you all see the screen? Can you see my screen? Is the screen visible? Yes, I hope so. It is visible. Okay. Yes. The first question here goes like this. Which city in Chhattisgarh unveiled a green corridor system for organ transplants, promising efficient and timely transportation in collaboration with the government of India and Bangalore? So organ transplantation is happening widely in our country. If you look at the recent past, so where from one area the organ is being transported to the other area and the transplantation is being done. So which particular city of Chhattisgarh has unveiled this green corridor for the purpose of organ transplantation? So is it Bilaspur, Durg, Bhilai, or Raipur? Any guess? No guess? Okay, so here is the answer. It is Raipur. Raipur is the city from Chhattisgarh, so where this green corridor system has been unveiled. Next, which country is set to export 10,000 million megawatts of power to India in the next 10 years, so solidifying a long-term energy partnership? Which country is set to export 10,000 million? This is a recent current affairs question. So which country has promised that? So they'll be exporting 10,000 megawatts of power to India in the next 10 years, and it is Nepal. Okay, so remember these things because current affairs questions you can expect out of 20 general knowledge questions, at least 4 to 5 will be current affairs. Next, which digital payment platform app has started partnered with NPCI to extend UPI payments globally? I think this question last session also we have come across. If anyone can recollect and tell me. They'll be partnering with NPCI to extend UPI payments globally. So when we have to do global payments, we use PayPal. Okay, so in that sense, which particular company here is going to partner with NPCI to extend UPI payments globally? It is Google Pay. Okay. Yes, the next question. Which state government partnered with Indospace for a rupees 200 crore investment in industrial real estate? where this industrial real estate will be started for a 2000 crore project. Is it in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu? Rohan, you are telling answer B. Very good. Yes, it's right. It's Tamil Nadu. The next question. Tata Consumer Products recently acquired a 100% stake in which company for rupees 5,100 crores. So, I mean, as you are going to appear for management courses, so this is very important to know about the companies, very important to know about the business environment. So, the Tata Consumer Products recently acquired a 100% stake in which of the following companies? And that is worth 5,100 crore. Any guess? At least just a wild guess? Somewhere in newspaper you might have seen, or while watching reels you might have come across this. Option D. Sorry, it's option A, Capital Foods. Okay, next. The Parliament of India cannot be regarded as a sovereign body. Why is it not regarded as a sovereign body? It can legislate only on subjects entrusted to the center by the Constitution. It has to operate within the limits prescribed by the Constitution. The Supreme Court can declare laws passed by Parliament as unconstitutional if they contravene the provisions of the Constitution. All of the above. Option D, Aditya, you are telling option D. Yes, you are right. So, above all the points say that Parliament of India cannot be regarded as a sovereign body. Somewhere in your Indian constitution, you might have come across this. So, knowing the constitution, at least the basic preliminary aspects, you just have to glance or go through some of the preliminary aspects of our constitution, particularly the structure of our government. Okay, the state government, the central government, and the local self government aspects related to that, and some of the important acts regarding the articles regarding the directive principles of state policy, then the fundamental rights and fundamental duties. So just have a glance with regard to these aspects and the functions related to our parliament. So these questions may appear in the examination most of the time whenever we write the competitive exams. So these are the questions which pop up over there. Okay, so just have an idea about these simple aspects. One is about the central government, next is about the state governments, and then about the local self-government that we have, then the functions of the parliament, and how the elections of this president, vice president has been done in our country, and along with that have an idea about the articles related to fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and the directive principles of state policy. Next, the name of the Lakadiv, Minicoy, and Amindivi Islands was changed to Lakshadweep by an act of parliament in which year? I mean, remembering the years is very difficult, I understand that. So it is 1973. Next, development expenditure of the central government does not include, understand this, development expenditure of central government does not include defense expenditure, expenditure on economic services, expenditure on social and community services, grants to the states. What is not included under the development expenditure? Any guess? Just apply your common sense, you can guess. ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯಲ್ಲ? Social service, grants. Option A, defense expenditure is not a development expenditure. And when it comes to this expenditure related aspects, have a look at the recent budget. Okay, to which sector, what is the amount that is allocated? So which sector has got the highest amount of allocation? So if you look at the allocation of funds for different sectors according to our recent union budget, so for defense, a larger portion of the funds have been allocated. Okay, so defense has got the highest allocation, followed by various other sectors. And this time, more amount of money has been allocated for the education sector, that is particularly for the skill development. So if you get any question related to the expenditure part of the central government, so just you can guess and give your answer. So all these areas have got very good allocation of funds by the budget of our country recently. Next, gilt-edged market means, is it the market? Is it the bullion market, or is it the market for government securities? I think most of you can answer this. Market of guns, market of pure metals, gilt-edged securities. Saptami, can you guess? Saptami, are you there with us? Yes or no? So since it is simple, you don't want to answer, is it? We call them as gilt-edged securities also. Option B. Very good. Aditya, you are right. It's the market of government securities. So in this context, I would also like to make a mention that have an idea roughly about the monetary policy and fiscal policy of our country. I think you might have heard of cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, repo rate, reverse repo rate, and all other aspects. So just have an idea about what kind of instruments are traded in the money market and what kind of instruments are traded in the capital market. Okay, so you can get few questions regarding those areas as well. So these gilt-edged securities are a part of the money market. Okay, so they are the short-term securities which are traded on the money market. Okay, just a second. I think few people are not able to join. I just send them the link. Okay, so look at the next question. Devaluation of a currency means, just go through the points there. A reduction in the value of a currency vis-a-vis against the major internationally traded currencies, permitting the currency to seek its worth in the international market, fixing the value of the currency in conjunction with the movement in the value of a basket of predetermined currencies, then fixing the value of currency in multilateral consultation with the IMF, the World Bank, and the major trading partners. So, what is devaluation of the currency? Have you heard of this devaluation? Option A, very good. Yes, Mohammed, you are right. It is reduction in the value of the currency against the foreign currencies or internationally traded currency. So why this devaluation is done? In order to even out the problems that may arise in the balance of payments of our country. So we have this deficit balance of payment, surplus balance of payment. So to even out if there are any problems with regard to our balance of payments, a deliberate decrease in the value of the currency will be done, and that is called as devaluation. So there is one more term called as depreciation. So anybody, what is depreciation? We say Indian rupee has been depreciated against US dollar, or rupee has appreciated against US dollar. So what is this depreciation? Is it same as devaluation? Yes, depreciation, or you are talking in terms of your accounts, reduction in the value of an asset. So here, depreciation is reduction in the value of a currency against the foreign currency. That is depreciation. Appreciation is Yes, decrease in the value of the currency. So appreciation is increase in the value of the currency against a foreign currency. So if you get any question regarding depreciation and appreciation, don't get confused with devaluation. Devaluation is purposefully the government is going to decrease the value of the currency. The next question, the southernmost point of peninsular India, that is Kanyakumari, is, what is it? Is it north of Tropic of Cancer? Is it south of Equator or is it south of Capricorn? North of Equator. So this is your geography question. Just a minute, students. Yes, you say that it is north of Equator. Any other answer? Somebody, Mubarak is telling it is south of Capricorn. It is north of Equator. So location of our country. So in the globe, you have to remember, and based on that, you have to answer this question. Next. So the Yalung Zangbo River in India is known as, what is this river known as? It is Brahmaputra. So the river Brahmaputra, we call it as Brahmaputra in India. The same river is being called by this particular name, that is Yalung Zangbo in China. Next, I think this is slightly a famous question. The Radcliffe line is the boundary between, Radcliffe line is the boundary between, is it India and Pakistan, India and China, India and Myanmar, or India and Afghanistan? India and Pakistan, all of us know it is called as the Radcliffe line. Option B, Allah, option A. Next, which of the following has a potential for harnessing of tidal energy in India? Which of the following has a potential for harnessing the tidal energy, that is energy which is generated through waves? We know we have wind energy, solar energy, right? So like that, so through tidals, that is waves, also we can generate the energy. So which particular part has the potential for harnessing this tidal energy? It is Gulf of Cambay. Okay, next, who was the first Indian to win the World Amateur Billiards title? Yes, first Indian to win World Amateur Billiards title. And it is Wilson Jones. Okay, so sports follow ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇದು. Next, in the match between India and Pakistan at Jaipur on 2/10/1983, which new rule was introduced? I think you people were not born at that time, but if you're following cricket, you will definitely know this. Which new rule was introduced? Is it limit of overs was reduced to 50 overs, the rule of field restriction was taken, overthrow runs where batsmen score, no ball, and wides were debited to bowlers, analysis? So it is option D. Okay, so follow, I mean, if you are following sports, so just have a glance of the important events that has been happened in the sports field, so that if you get a question, you can answer. Next, Natya Shastra, the main source of India's classical dances, was written by, who wrote this Natya Shastra? ಯಾರು ನಾಟ್ಯ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದು? ನಾರಮುನಿ, ಭರತಮುನಿ, ಅಭಿನವ ಮುನಿ? It is Bharatamuni. Okay, so tumba questions ಹೊಸದಾಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. So just understand and remember, try to remember if you get these questions in the exam. Which of the following folk dance forms is associated with Gujarat? Yeah, last class I had told you. So you have to go through the dance forms of different areas of our country. Megha, you say it is Garba. Yes, Aditya Garba. Yes, it is right. Gujarat, Garba. Next, Mohiniyattam uh, dance form actually developed originally in which state? Aditya, you say Kerala. Vaishnavi, Kerala. Yes, Mohiniyattam is from Kerala. So this, being South Indians, most of us are aware of. Next, Madhubani paintings. I think you might have heard of popular Madhubani paintings. So is popular, from which of the following states is Madhubani from? Uttar Pradesh, Megha, yes. Sorry, the answer is Bihar. Okay, just cross check. Next, Garam Pani Sanctuary is located at. Where is this Garam Pani Sanctuary? Is it in Gujarat, Assam, Nagaland, or Sikkim? This is something new, and that is from Assam, from an area called as Dipu. Yes, Praveen, it is Assam. Next, which countries form the membership of CACM, that is Central American Common Market? Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua. Okay, so answer is the first one, option A. Here, this is something very not much familiar. So you can have a look at the trade associations across the globe. Okay, so trade associations like we have NATO, CENTO, CIATO, all these things, and we also have this WTO. Okay, so and that has been renamed as GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff. So which are the members of these associations? Which countries are the members of these associations? So just have a look at these points and glance through all the trade associations and the members of these trade associations. So you can expect a question even on that as well. Yeah, this already we have seen. It's a repetition. It is market for government securities. Next, deficit financing leads to inflation in general, but it can be checked if government expenditure leads to increase in the aggregate supply in ratio of aggregate demand. Only aggregate demand is increased. All the expenditure is denoted national debt payment only. All of the above. Deficit financing leads to inflation in general, right? So, but it can be checked. How you can check this deficit financing? If the government expenditure leads to increase in the aggregate supply, or only the demand is increasing, or only the expenditure is denoted as the national debt. Which of the following is the correct answer? So it is option D, all of the above. If the expenditure is increasing, if the demand is increasing, and if the expenditure is denoted as a debt payment, so then we say that the deficit financing leads to inflation in the economy. Yes, if the cash reserve ratio is lowered by RBI, its impact on credit creation will be 2. This you should know a little bit about the monetary policy of the country. So, which is aimed at having or to see to it that there is an even flow of currency in the country. Okay, option A is correct, Mohan. If the cash reserve ratio is lowered by RBI, its impact on credit creation will be to increase it. Okay, so to pump out more money to the economy, or to make sure that more money is being in circulation in the economy, so the cash reserve ratio is lowered. Same is the case with SLR also. If the SLR is decreased, it means that the government or the RBI is aiming to create credit in the economy. Next, in the state of India, the State Financial Corporation have given assistance mainly to develop SFCs. What is the main intention of SFC, sorry, State Financial Corporation? Is it to develop agricultural farms or cottage industry or large scale industry or medium and small scale industry? Any guess? State Financial Corporation. It is option D, medium and small scale industries. So in this context, let me also remind you, so knowing about the banking system of our country, and particularly the apex institutions which have been set up in our country to cater to the requirements of different sectors of our economy. Say for example, so this State Financial Corporation, its main intention is to make sure that the funds have been floated towards the medium and small scale industries and they will develop. And in the same pattern, we have something called as NABARD. I think most of you might have heard about NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, and its main intention is to provide assistance for the agricultural development. Okay, so then we have Exim Bank, EXIM Bank, so that is for the tertiary sector of our country, that is export and import activities related assistance is being provided by the Exim Bank. So these apex institutions are there in our country to cater to the requirements of different sectors of our economy. Okay, then we have IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India, which is the apex institution for the development of large scale industries. For the small scale industries, we have SIDBI, that is Small Industrial Development Bank of India. So, like this, just have a glance with regard to the banking system of our country. Then, the central cooperative banks are in direct touch with. Yes, central cooperative banks are in direct touch with who? Which of the following? Mohan is telling option B. Yes, it is state cooperative banks. Very good. Next, non-tax revenues can be increased by improving the working of the State Road Transport Corporation, electricity boards, commercial irrigation projects, all of the above. So I think most of your commerce students, you know this tax revenue part, non-tax revenue part. So how to increase the non-tax revenue? It is through commercial irrigation project. It looks like all of them, definitely all of them will contribute to the non-tax revenue. But here the question is non-tax revenue can be increased by improving the working of which of the following? So which will contribute more to the non-tax revenue? So it is commercial irrigation projects. Next, regional rural banks. Okay, so you have 3 points given there. Have limited area of operation, have free access to liberal refinance facilities from NABARD, are required to lend only to weaker sections. So in this context, which of the following is correct? Option A says it is 1 and 3. Option B says it is 2 and 3. Option C says it is 1, 2, 3. And option D says it is 1 and 2. What is the right answer? Aditya is telling option D. Is it for this question only? Yes. So they have limited area of operation and they have free access to liberal finance facilities from NABARD. So NABARD will provide funds to regional rural banks and in turn that will be circulated for the development of agriculture and rural areas in our country. Next, the banks are required to maintain a certain ratio between their cash in hand and the total assets. This is called as, what is this? Is it SBR? Is it SLR? Is it CBR or is it CLR? It is option C, central bank reserve. No, it is option B. It is statutory liquid ratio. Just a second. Yeah, cash in hand and total assets. It includes total assets anta bandaga. It is SLR. Only cash anta bandaga cash reserve ratio. That option is not there here. Sometimes they will confuse you like this also. What is part of a database? Now, this is one question related to your computers. What is part of a database that holds only one type of information? Is it report? Is it field? Is it record? Or is it a file? It's a field. Yes. Okay. So next, after 11 o'clock, you have a detailed session on computer awareness. So the professor is going to tell you in detail what is this file, record, report, and all of the stuff. So .mov extension refers usually to which kind of file? .mov, is it movie file, is it audio file, is it MS document, or is it image file? Option B, yes, very good. It is animation or the movie file. Okay, so whenever we save our documents on a computer, so we have these extensions .doc, .exl, right? .jpeg. So all these things, so just have a look at these extensions. So definitely there will be a question on these extensions of the files. Okay, so .mov is for movie. Then if it is MS Word document, it is .doc, right? If it is an Excel sheet, it is .exl. If it is an image file, it can be .jpeg, okay, or JPG. So anything like that. Yeah. How many bits is a byte? Option B, yes, 8 bits is 1 byte. So this connection also, how many bits will make byte and how many bytes will make megabytes, then kilobytes, that MB, KB, GB. So all those things, just have a look at those points as well. Definitely there will be a question on that. Okay. Then the letters DOS stands for, in the computer, letter DOS stands for disk operating system. Yes, very good. So it is option C. What does DOCSIS stand for in computer? Just look at the options. DOCSIS. So it is data over cable service interface specification, or is it data over cable security internet standard or security international standards, service internet standards? Option A. It is, yes, Aditya. I think you're very well versed with the computers and things like that. Very good. So it is data over cable service interface specification. Yes. Now, few questions related to science. Vitamin B12 is most useful for combating anemia, goiter, night blindness, rickets. So this is our eighth standard. Sorry, what is that? Fifth standard, sixth standard syllabus. We might have studied this, right? Vitamin A in the K, vitamin B in a K, things like that. So vitamin B12. Oh, Aditya, I've already given answer. It is option A, anemia. Okay. ಸುಸ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ತಲೆ ಸುತ್ತುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬೀಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಟಮಿನ್ B12 ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ people usually tell, right? So connection between that is because you are feeling weak. That's why vitamin B12 is important to combat anemia. Next, pine, fir, spruce, cedar, larch, and cypress are the famous timber yielding plants of of which several also occur widely in the hilly regions of India. All these belong to which of these families? Is it angiosperms? Is it gymno? Is it mono? Is it dicot? So this is slightly different from what we have studied. It is gymnosperms. Okay. Next, from which city was the Wagnak used by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj transported to Mumbai? Recently, so that nail, what is that? Wagnak, the or the thing which was used by Chhatrapati Shivaji to fight. So Aditya, you have given the answer? No, no. What's the answer? From which city? News ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. Almost, I think in your reels also you might have come across this. From which city it has been transported to Mumbai? From Paris, New York, London. Option C, yes. Wagner. Okay, so that is ಈ ಕತ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಫೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅದೇ ತರ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಫೈಟ್. ಸೊ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಲಂಡನ್ ಇಂದ ತಗೊಂಬಂದು ಮುಂಬೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಯಂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕೆಪ್ಟ್, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಗವರ್ನಮೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕೆಪ್ಟ್. Next, what is the route of India's longest and largest urban tunnel inaugurated on July 13th, 2024, just 15 days back? India's longest and largest urban tunnel. Is it from Mumbai to Pune, Thane to Navi Mumbai, Thane to Borivali, then Mumbai to Borivali? Longest tunnel, urban tunnel. Longest and largest actually. News ನೋಡಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಸಿ, ಥಾನೆ ಟು ಬೋರಿವಾಲಿ. Next, in which state did scientists uncover a hidden ridge related to historic collision between India and East Antarctica? In which state did scientists uncover a hidden range to historic collision between India and East Antarctica? ಯಾವ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅದು? It is option B, Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So what is the primary objective of Digital Bharat Nidhi initiative introduced by the Department of Telecommunications? Is it promoting telecom services in urban areas, increasing telecom connectivity in rural areas, enhancing digital literacy among youth, supporting international telecom partnerships? So Digital Bharat Nidhi. What is the primary objective of this Digital Bharat Nidhi? Don't know. It is increasing telecom connectivity in rural areas. Okay, on the same lines, in the recent budget, something called as DPRs have been set up, okay, in order to promote the agricultural connectivity. That is, lands ella iruttala, people will own these lands. So digitalization of those lands will be done using this DPR platform. Okay, so just go through that particular point also. ಈ ಖಾತಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ for our lands and all, so the digitalization has been made compulsory in this particular budget, so through this DPR initiative. Which country has India expanded trade with through rupee kyat trade mechanism? Option D, yes. So last class we discussed kyat is the currency of which country? So it's Myanmar. So there lies the answer. In which year did India enact Geographical Indicators of Goods Act? Geographical Indicators of Goods Act. So it's in the year 1999. Yeah, here comes your constitution related question. Which constitutional article allows for the renaming of a state when recommended by the president? The president can recommend the renaming of a state. Which constitutional article talks about that? Any idea? It's option C, Article 5. Yes. In which states have the Armed Forces Act 1958 has been extended by the Union Ministry of Home Affairs? Armed Forces Act. I will share this particular document with you. Okay, so once at the glance ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ questions, this as well as the previous sessions document. Okay, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೆನಪಿರೋದು practically may not be possible for all of us. Okay, at least if you could recollect few of these things, it will be useful for your exam. So it's Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh is the answer. Which article of the Indian Constitution empowers the President to appoint Chief Election Commissioner and the election commissioners? Which article? It is Article 324 2. Yeah. Which group of workers does the Namaste scheme prioritize for ensuring safety and dignity? Any guess? ಯಾರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ this Namaste scheme? It is sanitization workers. ONDC has signed an MOU with which regulatory body for coordination of functions of the institutions? So it has signed an agreement with SIDBI. Next, what method will NHAI, that is National Highway Authority of India, use to increase green cover along national highways? What that method is called as? Miyawaki plantation, hydroponics plantation, vertical gardening, native afforestation technique. Gottilla? It's Miyawaki plantation. Okay. Next, philology is the study of what? Is it bones? Is it muscles? Is it architecture? Or is it the science of languages? Philology. It is the science of languages. Okay, so in this context, you can also look at the various studies like anthropology, psychology, sociology, zoology, botany. So what are these areas, into what do they study in these lodges, whatever the famous lodges that we have? So just go through that particular point as well. Next, study of life in outer space is known as end biology, exobiology, enterobiology, neobiology. In the outer space, it is exobiology. Okay. Next, paleontology is the branch of science that deals with behavior of animals, origin and growth of plants, the forms of life as revealed by fossils of animals and plants, or the formation of new stars. What is paleontology? Okay, it's the study which deals with, or the science which deals with the forms of life as revealed by fossils of animals and plants. This already we have seen. Yeah. Which of the following are the members of SARC? SARC is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan. Bhutan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Nepal, India. Just go to the options and tell me. So, which of the following are the members of SARC? So, in this context, as already I told you, have a look at these international associations and the member countries of those associations. Definitely, there will be a question on that. Scoring one single mark is also important in the PGCET exam. So, one mark may increase your ranks like anything. Okay, so you can be in the top list so that you will get seats in good colleges. Yes, what's the answer? It's option B. Okay, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Nepal, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka. So these are the members of SAARC. This I think already we have seen. Which of the following are the members of CARICOM? All of the above. Next, Zawar from Rajasthan is famous for. Anybody from Rajasthan? Zawar is famous for. Is it ship manufacturing, zinc mines, salt, or is it a major port? It's option B, very good. It's zinc mines. Next, which of the following act as a channel of transmission of blood to heart in the human body? Arteries, muscle fibers, nerves, and veins. It is option D, veins through the human body. Okay, transmission of blood to the heart in the human body. So, body in the heart, it's through veins. In an atomic explosion, enormous energy is released, which is due to what happens in an atomic explosion? Conversion of chemical energy into heat energy, conversion of mechanical energy into nuclear energy, then conversion of mass into energy, or the conversion of neutrons into protons. Let us complete it quickly. It is conversion of mass into energy. So atomic energy and mass will get converted into energy. So that is why that explosion or the sound that we get, that enormous energy is released. Next, isotopes are separated by which of the following? It's option C, distillation. Next, which company has signed an MOU with the Directorate General of Training to train 6,000 students and 200 educators in digital and cybersecurity skills in the country? MOU with the Directorate General of Training to train 6,000 students and 200 educators. Is it Amazon, Google, Microsoft, TCS? It's Microsoft. Okay. Next, what is the name of Amazon India's last mile drive program that collaborates with local stores for efficient delivery? ಇದೆಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಕೇಳಿರ್ತೀರ. Last mile delivery program of Amazon, Quick Ship, Swift Deliver, or Prime Courier, I Have Space. It is I Have Space. In the Fortune Global 500 list, okay, which Indian company ranked at number 88, marking its highest ever ranking? Reliance, IOC, LIC, and Tata Motors. Fortune 500 list ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರೋಂಥ 88 ranked company is, answer, it's Reliance Industries. The Manas Wildlife Sanctuary. Where is this Manas Wildlife Sanctuary? People from north. It is from Assam. The Constitution of India borrowed the scheme of Indian Federation from which constitution? Option D. Any other answer? It's option C, Canada. Okay. Next, the highest gallantry award in India is highest bravery award or gallantry award. It is Paramavira Chakra. So World Health Day is observed on ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, so it is observed on which date? April 7th. Okay. Then Epsom, which is a place in England, is associated with horse racing, then polo, shooting, snooker. What is it? Epsom salt alla. It is associated with the horse racing. Exposure to sunlight helps a person improve his health. Why? I think this all of us can answer. Is it infrared light kills the bacteria in the body, resistance? Power increases, the pigment cells in the skin get stimulated and produce a healthy tan. Ultraviolet rays convert skin oil into vitamin D. What's the answer? It's option D. So sunlight hodre, we get vitamin D. All of us know this. So they've just put that in different terminologies. So the answer is option D. Next, guarantee to an exporter that the importer of his goods will pay immediately for the goods ordered by him is known as what? Letter of credit, laissez-faire, inflation, none of the above. Guarantee to an exporter that importer of his goods will pay immediately. Once the goods are delivered, so the amount is paid immediately. So what is it called as? It's called as the letter of credit. It's in the international market which happens. Then Federation Cup, World Cup, then Alvin International Trophy and Challenge Cup are awarded to winners of which of the following sport? Tennis, volleyball, basketball, and cricket. Volleyball. Okay. Then gravity setting chambers are used in industries to remove. This is purely a different area question. Suspended particulate matter. Fire temple is the place of worship of which of the following religion? Fire temple is the place of worship of which of the following region? Fire temple. Gottilla? It is Zoroastrianism, Parsi religion. Then eugenics is the study of altering human beings by changing their genetic components. So this is the recent development in the medical field. Okay, altering the human beings by changing their genetic components. Okay, so that is called as eugenics. DRDL stands for, any answer? DRDL. So like this famous abbreviations also you have to go through. So you may get some questions with regard to the abbreviations as well. And it is Defense Research and Development Laboratory. Yes, DRDO, that organization's research laboratory is DRDL. Number of Lok Sabha seats from Karnataka. This you must tell. ಮೊನ್ನೆಷ್ಟೇ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಮೊನ್ನೆಷ್ಟೇ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಯ ಮುಂಚೆ. Yes, Aditya, option C is the correct answer. India's first atomic reactor was. First atomic reactor of India was Apsara. Okay, so in a normal human body, the total number of blood cells. ಎಷ್ಟು blood cells ಇರುತ್ತೆ? So you are telling option C and Tanat. That's for previous one you said, no? No, yeah, the previous one. Option B, 30 trillion blood cells, red blood cells will be there in a healthy human body. Okay, so like this, we still have many questions. So I will share this document with you on the WhatsApp group. Just go through this particular questions, and along with this, whatever the material that I have, I will share. And previously, I think yesterday I have shared the links, YouTube links of all the other sessions of our PGCET classes. So go through all the PPT or all the sessions that we have shared with you, so that you will get maximum benefit out of all the sessions that we have conducted. So with this note, so I'll be ending the session on general knowledge. So sharp at 11 o'clock, we will start with the computer awareness session. So just quickly take 2 minutes break and come back. Only 2 minutes, sharp at 11, we'll be starting with the computer awareness session. Aditya, actually, the previous year question papers will just serve you as a guide to know what kind of questions will appear. But every year there will be a change in the question paper. Okay, so you have to just according to the syllabus. I mean, if you look at this history, geography, and political science related questions, or this aptitude and logical reasoning questions, yes, you can refer the previous year question papers. When it comes to computer awareness and the GK part, so you have to look at the new things that are happening in the market. Aditya, you can just go through the syllabus. I will share the syllabus on the group as well. Okay, so depending on the topics that are there in the syllabus, you can collect the material online and you can study that. And you can, I mean, the simplest thing that you can do is you can follow our classes. Whatever the recordings that I have shared, you can follow them. Ma'am, I'm not in the group. How can I join? We have already shared the link, right? WhatsApp group link. Have you registered, Pooja? Have you completed your registration formality? So at the end of that registration form, we have attached the link for our WhatsApp group. Okay, if you have not joined, you just send a message to my number. Do you have that brochure at least with you? That PGCT classes brochure that we have shared? Yeah, you have my number at the end. You don't have? Just a second. See, that's my number. I've posted on the chat box. You can just send me a message. Okay, I will send you the WhatsApp group link and the registration form link so that you can join our group. Okay, so let us start with our computer awareness session. Uma ma'am?
Yes, Rashmi.
Yes. Give me a minute, I'll just hand over the session. Yes, dear participants, a very good morning once again. So we are starting with the computer awareness session now. So this is a new topic which has been added in your PGCET courses. To deal with this particular session or to explain the aspects of computer awareness, we have Dr. Uma Devi Anant amongst us. So on behalf of AIMIT, our director and principal, and the participants, I extend a hearty welcome to Dr. Uma Devi Anant. And a brief introduction about ma'am is here. So she is an associate professor and chairperson for HR and analytics at Adarsh Institute of Management and Information Technology. And she has done her PhD in the management. And madam has over 18 years of varied experience in teaching, research, industry institute collaborations, and curriculum development. She was awarded PhD in management from Bangalore University in the year 2018. Her research interest is in the area of comparative HRM, and her doctoral thesis is on the impact of firm ownership and on strategic HR practices in domestic and foreign companies. Her area of specialization is in human resource management, and she teaches strategic management, organizational behavior, human resource management subjects, and most importantly, the business analytics courses. She has also presented many papers in international and national conferences and has an equal number of publications too in the UGC Care Journals, Scopus Journals, and the Web of Science Index Journals. She is a regular article reviewer for Springer and Sage journals. She has also served as an rapporteur and chaired technical sessions in national and international conferences. She has co-authored a book on strategic HRM too. She has been invited as guest speaker to Bangalore University, Bangalore City University, BMS College for Women, City Engineering College, to name a few. She is on the Syllabus Revision Committee and the Board of Examiners of Bangalore City University, Presidency College, and Ramaya Institute of Management, and she has successfully completed a funded research project titled The Socio-Economic Well-Being and Financial Need Analysis of Street Vendors in Bangalore During COVID. So, with this introduction, let me welcome Dr. Uma Devi Anant for the session. Ma'am, over to you. You can take over the session on computer awareness.
Thank you so much, Professor Rashmi, for the introduction. And I would request the Dr. Guna to give me the host permission so that I can switch on the video. Very warm welcome to all the students to this session of computer awareness. Professor Rashmi?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yeah, I want the
Yeah,
host
yeah.
permission so that I can switch on the video and share
Yes,
the
yes, we'll do.
PPT.
We'll do that.
So this is the very first time, students, that computer awareness has been introduced for the PGCET for MBA students. So let us take a look at what is there. I think all of you would have already gone through the syllabus for the PGCET exam. So we will just see the contents, and we will try to cover up as much as possible most important concepts for computer awareness from your PGCET exam perspective. Yes. Yes, students. So you have these contents for the PGCET 2024-25, that is computer basics, where we will be looking at the organization of a computer. We will be looking at the various components, that is the central processing unit, I/O devices, the computer memory, programming languages, and general awareness about internet, web applications, database applications, and information systems. Then we will be more important component of this syllabus is about the data representation. So here we will be looking at how to represent characters, integers, and fractions, which the computer can understand. So there are mainly three different forms or formats which are required for you from the exam syllabus, what has been given. So binary, ASCII, and hexadecimal representation. So we will be seeing how to convert from binary to ASCII to hexadecimal. And then we will be doing a bit of binary arithmetic, where you will be looking, we will be discussing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, two's complement arithmetic, and normalized floating point representation. So how floating point means numbers with decimals, how they are represented in the computer systems. So that is, and then finally the last component of it is the operating systems. So here you will be learning about how the operating systems have evolved over the years, and what are the different types of operating systems, what are the functions, and what are some of the modern operating systems. So this is what is in store for the next 2 hours that we will be discussing, and this is as per the syllabus. So basic organization of a computer, if you keep this particular diagram in mind, you will be able to answer most of the questions. So this diagram basically discusses about the how a computer is organized. Within a computer, what do you see? So within the computer, if you see this gray part of it, whatever you can look at over here, this is the core of the computer. That is, you have the arithmetic logic unit and the control unit, which together is called as the central processing unit. So we have the central processing unit, where all the operations of the instructions which are given to the computer take place. So basically arithmetic logic unit is where it's called as the heart of the computer, or it is the brain of the computer, where all the, as the name itself suggests, arithmetic operations and all logical operations are carried out. Logical operations are like, if you look at, perhaps if you say sets, right? In set theory, you would have learned like what is A or B, A and B, things like that. So all logical operations are carried out in the arithmetic logic unit, and the control unit manages the input and the output devices, as well as the control, as well as the arithmetic logic unit. It helps in fetching the data from the memory units to the arithmetic logic unit. It helps in getting the input information from the input devices to the arithmetic logic unit. It helps to put out the information which the arithmetic logic unit has computed to the output device. So all this is managed by the control unit. So arithmetic logic unit and control unit form the central processing unit. So you may get a question as to what is central processing unit composed of. So they may give you like control unit, arithmetic logic unit, or they may give you another option as input unit plus control unit. They may give you another option as secondary storage plus arithmetic logic unit. Like this, different combinations they may give you. But the right option will be control unit plus arithmetic logic unit. These two comprise the central processing unit. And then we have the storage units. So storage is where the data is stored. So whenever we are giving some instructions to the computer gets the instructions along with some data to work upon. So what is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to add numbers? Is it supposed to multiply numbers? Is it supposed to divide, or what kind of operation it has to do? That data as well as the instructions are received from the input device and they are stored in the storage unit. So if there is a lot of data, let's say if there's a huge amount of data that is fed into the computer, then it is stored in the secondary storage. And from there, it is transferred to the primary storage in small amounts, so that it is easier for the control unit to access. And this primary storage is the one which is very fast, right? So therefore, access from the primary storage for the control unit is very fast. The purpose of it is to speed up the operation of the CPU. So for that, we cannot connect the entire secondary storage to the control unit. But what we do is, in the secondary storage can hold huge volume. So in the secondary storage, we store the huge volume of data, whatever is fetched in by the input device, and then in small packages we import it to the primary storage, and from the primary storage the control unit fetches it and then passes it on to the arithmetic logic unit. So this whole process will speed up the computation, or the speed of the computer, how quickly it computes. So that is the purpose of having these two different storage units. So we have primary storage and secondary storage. We will see some more details of the storage unit in a bit. And after all this computation is done, we need to display the results, right? Results has to be communicated to the user, and that happens through the output unit. So the next thing we are going to look at is so you may get some questions on what are input devices, some examples of input device. Basically, input device, what it does is it reads the instructions and the data and feeds it to the computer. So some input devices examples are keyboard, tablets, then biometric machine you would have seen, where we put our fingerprint and that gets recorded. If you see your Aadhaar and everything, they take your fingerprints, right? So that's an input device, how it feeds how it reads the fingerprints of humans. That is done by the use of a biometric machine. And then we have a webcam. So web camera, it takes images of people, photos or pictures of people, right? Biometric machine have both fingerprint as well as image recognition. It also has a camera where it can recognize the image of the person. And then we have mouse. Mouse is through the click of the mouse, through the movement of the mouse, you can select information and feed it to the computer. And we have microphone. Like now I am speaking to you all and you are able to get the sound or the voice, and that is happening through the microphone. And then we have scanner, so where we can scan images, that you would have seen a printer and scanner comes together. So scanned images can be fed into the computer. Again, it is image data which is fed into the computer through the scanning. And then there is barcode scanners. You would have seen in in superstores or any retail outlets where they do billing, and they bill each item using the barcode scanner. So each item will have a unique code, and that code will be recognized by the barcode scanner. So these are some of the input devices that you should be aware of, and you may get some questions on these input device. Like they may give you some options and say which is an input device which can be used by a computer. Then there is output devices. So output devices are basically where the results of the computer, whatever it has performed, the output can be received through these output devices. And what it does is, whenever the computation happens in a computer, it happens in binary format, in machine format, and that has to be converted into a human readable form. That means human should be able to understand. So the output unit converts it, and then it supplies it to the output device, so that we will be able to recognize what output it is. We will be able to understand what output it is. Then again, some examples of output devices are monitors. Monitors is a screen on which you are seeing. Now I'm sharing this PPT. So you are able to see the PPT in your screen. So that screen monitor, that is a output device. Then speakers, you're able to hear the sound. So there are built-in speakers in the laptops. There are additional speakers you can connect to your computer or the laptop. So speakers are another set of output device. Then we have printers, where we can take printouts of data, like your file, or when you take printout of any file, your resume or anything. So that is the printer. And then the headphones help you to get the voice data. And then there is projectors. So projector, you can project it to the screen. The output from this laptop, I can use a projector to project it onto a large screen. And then there are plotters. So plotters are basically, like, for example, you want to if you would have seen the ECG machines, they use plotters, right? They recognize the signals of the heart, and they plot it on a sheet of paper. So that is a plotter. And then we have a haptic device, where again, this haptic device is basically where it can recognize fingerprint information. And then the fax machines. So fax machines, whatever we send in here can be taken as printout elsewhere. So these are some of the output devices. Then we move on to the next part, and here, storage units. Let's deal a little more with storage unit. There could be some more detailed questions based on the storage unit. So storage unit of a computer, it can store the data, the instructions, that is the programs, which tell the computer as to what should be done with the data. And then storage unit is also used to store the intermediate results while the computer is processing. And then again, the final results of the processing is also stored in the storage device before it is sent out to the output device. So these are the three things for which storage unit is required. And based on the usage, we will see there are different types of storage, which we call as a computer memory. So storage is nothing but computer memory. And here we have the primary memory and secondary memory. So primary memory is what is there inside the internal to the computer. Secondary memory can be attached to the computer, that is external to the CPU or the computer. So within the CPU, within the main internal to the computer, we have primary memory, and that can be of two types, that is the RAM and the ROM. So we have two types of primary memory, which is RAM and ROM. RAM stands for random access memory, and ROM stands for read-only memory. So as the name suggests, ROM means read-only memory, where already some data instruction is already written onto this kind of memory, and it is not easy to modify the content. So basically, when we are booting the computer, there is certain information which has to be fed into the hard disk. So like for example, the BIOS means basic input output services. So as soon as you boot the computer, it should recognize the keyboard, it should recognize the mouse, it should recognize certain things, right? So those kind of information is fed into the ROM. It is actually written, hardwired into the ROM, and that is read-only memory. So we cannot very easily change it. But then there are certain advancements in the ROM where we call that as the programmable read-only memory. So this can be programmed. So once it's programmed, that's it. After that, it cannot be changed. Then there is erasable programmable read-only memory. So here we can erase it using some method. Once we can erase and then we can rewrite. Then electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. This multiple times we can erase and we can rewrite. So these are the three different types of read-only memories. And then coming to the RAM. So RAM is there within the CPU. And here we have the static RAM and the dynamic RAM. So two different types of RAM are there, static RAM and dynamic RAM. So static RAMs, they basically use transistors or diodes for their for their construction, while dynamic RAM use capacitors. So here what happens is dynamic RAMs, since they use capacitors, they have to be constantly, you have to keep giving it power. So continuous power is required. Otherwise, those capacitors will discharge and the data which is stored in the dynamic random access memory will go away. Static RAM, again here, static RAM is fast, and here in static RAM, it is more expensive. Static RAM is more expensive. So RAM is random access memory. That means they are volatile memory. That means it is used internally by the CPU to perform intermediate results. It is stored in this random access memory while computation is going on in the CPU. So these intermediate results which are stored, they are there only until and unless we are switched on. The computer is switched on. Once we close the computer, once we switch off the computer, whatever is stored in those random access memory is lost. So that is called as volatile memory. Volatile memory. So this is important to remember. And then we have the secondary memory. This is for storing large volumes of data. So when we have a lot of data to store, then we have the secondary memory. So in secondary memory, the most important type of secondary memory is the hard disk drive, right? HDD, hard disk drive. It is a magnetic storage device. Then this floppy disk and magnetic tape, they are very old type of storage devices which are now no longer used. Floppy disks, there used to be 3.5-inch floppy disk, 5.25-inch floppy disks. These are all, earlier it was used, now it is not being used. And magnetic tapes also, they are all old styled storage devices, now no longer in use. Hard disk drives, yes, we use magnetic storage for hard disk device. Then we have also optical storage device. Optical means it makes use of laser for reading and writing. So that we have the compact disc, CD, and then we have digital video discs, DVD. So this is the optical storage device. Then the next thing, what we have is the then we have the flash storage. So flash storage is what we are using now. That is very fast compared to optical storage or magnetic storage, and it can hold large volumes of data. So we have memory cards, the pen drives that we use, all these are called as the flash storage. So this is basically about the primary memory and the secondary memory. So let us now look at this is a concise table for you. What is the primary memory? What are the different types of primary memory, random access memory? And in that we have static and we have static RAM and we have dynamic RAM. There is also one more called as double data rate dynamic RAM, which is faster than dynamic RAM. So this is a little advanced kind of dynamic RAM. And then we have the static RAM. So all these are volatile. All random access memory devices are volatile, and basically dynamic RAM is fast, double dynamic is faster, static RAM is the fastest compared to all of these three. So where it is used, so all these random access memories, that is DRAM or DRDRAM or SRAM, they are mainly used for operating systems and for various application programs. When we are running, let's say we are running, now I'm running PPT, I may be running a Word file. So all these kind of operating system and application related programs, it is loaded onto the RAM, and there we are able to see it. So once we close it, if we if it is there in the RAM and if we have not saved it, then it will no longer be available to us once we switch off our systems. That is volatile. So once we save it onto our hard disk or pen drive, then that is a secondary storage device, and there it will remain. That is non-volatile. So that is what you need to know. And static RAM is basically used as cache memory. So this is in between the primary memory and the CPU. So in between primary memory and CPU, we use the static RAM or the cache memory. The cache memory is an intermediate storage device, and that's called as the cache memory. So this is again to speed up the processing. So that is for high speed applications, the static RAM is used. Then the ROM, we have seen here different types of ROMs, that is programmable ROM, then erasable programmable ROM, and then we have electrically erasable programmable ROM. So erasable programmable ROM is done using light, that is laser, and electrically erasable programmable ROM is through electrical signals. We can erase it and reprogram it. So these are all used for firmware. Firmware means, like for example, I connect a printer. So the printer will have a device driver that is called as a firmware, right? So the hardware related content to activate the hardware, whatever we need, that is called as the firmware. So that is about the memory part of it. Now the next thing we will see is the again in primary memory, the cache memory. So here this is very fast, and it is used by the CPU in between. I said it is in between the primary memory and the CPU. In between there we use the cache memory, and there are various kinds of cache memory. There is L1 cache, L2 cache, and L3 cache, again depending on how close it is to the CPU. L1 cache is the most fastest one, and that is the most closest to the CPU. Then L2 cache is a little away from the CPU. It is for instructions, the program instructions. And then we have L3 cache, which is again when we have multiple CPUs in the system, which is called as multi-core. Like for example, the laptop that I'm using is a Core i5, Intel Core i5. That means there are 5 processors in this laptop, right? 5 CPUs are there in this laptop. So L3 cache is used for each of these CPUs to perform. So that is what, for each CPU, there will be a cache memory. So that is L3 cache. And then the registers. So registers are the ones which are within the ALU, inside the ALU. That is arithmetic logic unit. Inside the ALU, there are registers. These are also memories, memory devices. They are very, very fast. They are very volatile, and they are temporary storage only, intermediate results of any computation is stored in these registers before it finally gets the output. In between, results are stored in these registers. So now, external memory, we have the hard disk drive. Now in hard disk drives, now the advancement is the solid state drives. So solid state drives are faster than the magnetic hard disk drives. And then we have the compact disk and the USB, that which is the pen drives and all that we use, that is called, which we plug in to our USB port, that is called as the universal serial bus. So what is that USB stand for? Is universal serial bus. So these expansions are important. HDD stands for hard disk drive. SSD is solid state drive. Solid state drive is also used as a hard disk only for large storage. And then we have CD, which is compact disk, and USB, which is universal serial bus drive. So you can just go through this table in more detail. Then the next is, how do we store memory? In what units is it measured? So we have bits, which is 1 bit, right? 1 bit means it can store either a 0 or a 1. So in machine language or in computers, they understand only the language of zeros and ones, which we call as binary language. So 1 bit means it can either store a 0 or a 1. It's like a switch going on or off. On is a 1, off is a 0. So for these memory units, we use transistors. So transistors are like switches. So if it switches on, it is a 1. If it switches off, it's a 0. So it is a collection of transistors which form the storage units. And then we have a byte. A collection of 8 bits is called as a byte. So normally all characters are represented using bytes. And then we have kilobyte, which is 1024 bytes, and it is 2 to the power of 10 bytes. Since we use binary, when machines use binary language only, so we always give these metrics in terms of 2 to the power of something. So 1 kilobyte means 2 to the power of 10 bytes. Then we have megabyte. Megabyte here means it is 2 to the power of 20 bytes. So that is 1024 kilobytes or 2 to the power of 20 bytes. Then we have gigabyte. Gigabyte means GB. It is represented as GB. We all are aware of this. When we are talking about our computers, storage and all that, we say how many gigabytes it has or how many terabytes it has. So 2 to the power of 30 bytes is gigabyte, and terabyte is 2 to the power of 40 bytes. That is a terabyte. So you may have hard disks of 2 TB, 4 TB, like that. And then petabyte. Petabyte is 2 to the power of 50 bytes. So these are very, very large data. This is normally, required for organizations to store their data, big organizations, where the data may run into petabytes and exabytes. So exabytes is 2 to the power of 60 bytes, and zettabyte is 2 to the power of 70 bytes. Yottabyte is 2 to the power of 80 bytes. So now, as of now, we are only have metrics up to yottabyte. So all the data that we are talking about in big organizations are measured in terms of petabytes, exabytes, and zettabytes and yottabytes. So this, again, you may have some questions on this. What is a megabyte? How many bytes does it represent? So they may give you options as to the 2 to the power of 10 bytes, 2 to the power of 20, 2 to the power of 30, 40, like that. So at least till about terabyte and petabyte, you should know. So you can see that for each type, it is increasing by 2 to the power of 10 bytes, right? Megabyte is 2 to the power of 20, then 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So you should remember these things. So we have discussed all of these. Now let's look at some questions from what we have covered so far. So which component is primarily responsible for executing instructions in a computer system? So can I have the answers? You can respond in the chat box. Yes, students. Which component is primarily responsible for executing instructions in a computer system? Come on, students, are you all there? Yes, yes, option. The correct answer is the central processing unit, right? We just discussed central processing unit is where all the computations of the computer happen, right? For executing the instructions, central process, executing means processing. Processing of the instructions happens in the central processing unit. That is correct option is option B. Pooja, yes, you are right. Very good. Then, yeah. So let's move on to the next question. Which of the following is an example of an input device? Yes, you can answer. This is quite easy. You all would be using. Yeah, the option over here is input device. So we are typing in text using our keyboards, right? So that is an input device. Now, which type of memory is used for temporary storage and is erased when the computer is turned off? So erased when the computer is turned off means yes, very good. It is the RAM. That means it is volatile, right? Volatile means it is erased when the computer is turned off. Both mean the same, volatile or erased when the computer is turned off. That is called as the random access memory. That is RAM, RAM. Then yes, Anushri, Shashikumar, all of you have got it right. So the other options which were there, we have ROM, SSD and HDD. So ROM is what? It's non-volatile, read-only memory. SSD is the solid-state device, which is the external memory. And HDD is also non-volatile, and that is the hard disk drive, magnetic hard disk drive. Next, what is the primary function of the CPU in a computer system? So just now we spoke about it. What is the primary function of the CPU in a computer system? Store data permanently, process instructions, manage input-output devices, control the network. Okay. Here, Suresh, we are talking about the CPU, Central Processing Unit. See that word process is there in the CPU. So the option is process instructions, right? That is the correct option, process instructions. So here, manage input-output devices, who does that? Which part of the, which component does that? Manage input-output devices. Can you type it out in the chat box? Which component does the managing of input-output devices? No, it's not the RAM. RAM is just a storage unit. Random access memory. No, it is only storage. It's for storing the data and the instructions. Manage input-output devices done by the control unit, which is inside the CPU, right? It is a part of the CPU, control unit. But when they give you CPU, then you have to associate with process instructions. Which of the following component is responsible for performing arithmetic and logical operations in the CPU? Arithmetic and logical operations, ALU, right? It is already there in the question itself, arithmetic and logical operations. So it is the arithmetic logic unit. Yes. in a CPU, what does the term clock speed refer to? So clock speed. So clock speed is basically the rate at which the CPU executes the instructions. How fast is our computer is determined by the clock speed, the rate at which CPU executes instructions. How many instructions it can execute in a second? That is what is called as the clock speed. And it is measured in terms of megahertz. So like for example, my laptop has a clock speed of 1.7 megahertz or gigahertz, right? It is gigahertz. So gigahertz is 1,000 times more than megahertz. So the rate at which the CPU executes instructions, that is called as the clock speed. And that determines how fast our computer can compute. Next, which of the following is an example of output device? So we have mouse, scanner, monitor, microphone. This is an easy one. Answer to this question. Which of the following is an example of an output device? Yes. Students, it is the monitor, right? Monitor is the output device. Next, which device converts digital signals from a computer into analog signals for transmission over telephone lines? Right? How does, suppose you have broadband, you have a modem and all that, right? So what is it that transmits digital signals from a computer into analog signals for transmission over telephone lines? So that is done by a modem. Modem converts digital signals to analog signals and it is transmitted over the telephone lines. Which type of memory is non-volatile and it is used to store firmware in a computer? Can you answer this? Students? Which type of memory is non-volatile and used to store firmware in a computer? Non-volatile means the moment it says non-volatile, you have to look at ROM, right? That is read-only memory. So that's a non-volatile memory over here. The next thing. Yes, I saw there is monitor is both input and output. Monitor is basically an output device. Input, if you see, we are feeding it input only through the mouse or the keyboard, right? So input is mouse. You can see the movements of the mouse on the monitor, but whatever you click, that is through the mouse signals which is fed into the computer. So monitor, we treat it as an output device. And what is the primary difference between RAM and ROM? You can answer this question. ROM is non-volatile, RAM is volatile. B, very good. Yes, ROM is non-volatile and RAM is volatile. Yeah, that is the correct answer. What does the term virtual memory refer to? So what is virtual memory? So basically what happens is, sometimes to speed up and when there is a shortage of the primary storage, then it will use a part of the secondary storage and it will map it on to the primary storage. So that is called as virtual memory, right? So it is a combination of RAM and the disk storage. Disk storage means the secondary storage that is used to extend the available memory. So that option is available in some computers where you can extend your RAM. RAM, if you increase the RAM, the speed of operations increases. So what it does is part of the hard disk, it will assign as RAM. So that is called as a virtual memory, right? So option is B over here. Combination of RAM and disk storage used to extend the available memory. Next, let's look at programming languages. So, programming language, basically, I used to write programs. Programs are a set of instructions that we give to a computer and tell that, okay, you have to do these steps. So that is what a computer program does. And to write a computer program, we use programming languages. So programming languages, are plenty of programming languages. And in that, we can broadly categorize to two levels, that is low level language and high level language. So low level language we have again in that machine language. So machine language here means it has only binary coding, that is zeros and ones. And then assembly level language, this uses short uh, code language, like for example, suppose you wanted to execute something, you will say exe. Like these are called as mnemonic codes. If you want to store something, you will say store, store. So short codes, which are called as mnemonic codes, are used in assembly level language, and they are specific to the CPU. So suppose I have an Intel CPU, the instructions in assembly language for Intel will be different from any other. For example, a Mac. A Mac assembly level language will be different from uh, Intel language, right? So it is specific to the computer's CPU. Then there are high level languages. Now, high level languages are can be used irrespective of the hardware, right? Whatever is the CPU, whatever is the processing unit, it doesn't matter. So this high level languages can be used on any computer, any system. So here we have procedural languages where there are a sequence of commands that has to be performed in that order only. Like for example, then we have Pascal, Fortran, and all that. So they are sequential in a list of commands that are given to the computer. These are called as procedural languages. Then there is object-oriented languages. Here, we use objects to represent the data as well as the functions to work upon the data. So it's encapsulated in the form of data plus the functions used to work on that data, and that is called as an object. And examples of object oriented languages are Java, C++, Python, and all of these. So you may have some questions on the programming languages also. Like then we have the scripting languages. So this is for writing very short programs, basically for automation. And we use JavaScript, Perl, Python, all these for AI applications and all of these, right? So JavaScript for internet applications. So these things are used. JavaScript, Perl, Python are examples of scripting languages, and we don't write very long programs using these scripting languages because they're all encapsulated. They all use object-oriented programming, and they already functions are readily available which we make use of, and the code is very short. And then we have functional languages where basically for mathematical functions, to develop new mathematical functions, statistical functions, these are used, and examples are Lisp, Erlang, Haskell, and so on. So again, this is just a compilation in the form of a table. I'll be sharing this PPT with you all so you can go through it and make note of it. Yeah. So which programming language is commonly used for system level programming? System level programming means Windows, operating system, and things like that. So what programming language is used commonly for system level programming? Can I get some answers? Yes, can we have some answers for this question? Which programming language is used for system level programming? Yes, option C, Pooja. C, that's correct. Which of the following language is considered a high-level programming language? High-level programming language basically are the ones where we need not worry about the hardware. In low-level programming languages, we have to even manage the hardware of the computer. So we have to give instructions how to fetch the data, how to store in the memory, how to allocate memory for the program, for the data, to hold the data. All these things we have to manage in low-level languages. But in high-level languages, we need not worry about all of that. So which language over here in the among the given options is a high-level programming language? C++. Yes, Vaishnavi. That's right. C++. So C++ is an object-oriented programming language. What does the term syntax refer to in a programming language? What do we mean by syntax? The set of rules that define the structure of valid statements, right? That is the correct answer. Syntax means, like we have in our English language, the grammar, or any other language that we speak, we have a grammar, right? We have a sentence structure. We have to follow that. So that is what is, there are a set of rules. Grammar rules are there. Like that, in computer languages also, we have a set of rules that define the structure of valid statements. We have to write it in that particular order. That is called as the syntax. Next, we'll see some awareness about internet, web applications, and all of these. So here, internet, we all know, it's a network of computers that are connected together. And for communicating among the different computers which are connected, we need certain standardized protocols, right? So that what I am trying to communicate to the other system, they should also understand in the same fashion. So that is why we need a standardized set of protocols, and we can share information, we can share resources. Like for example, I can share my screen with another computer on the internet. I can share files, right? So I can share services. All of these across the world, the systems can be connected through the internet. And here, some of the important concepts that we need to know here are TCP/IP. What is TCP/IP? That is telecommunication protocol, internet protocol. That is what it is. And it is a fundamental protocol for communicating on the internet. So this is the foundation of the standardization which is required to communicate from one computer to another on the internet. TCP/IP. That is telecommunication protocol or internet protocol. Then IP address. IP address is it's a unique identifier for the device on the network. So what is my IP address will be unique for every system in the internet which is connected in the internet. Each system will have a unique IP address. So that is called as internet protocol address. And uniquely it identifies each device on the internet. Then we have the domain names. Domain names are like, for example, www.google.com. Now you have logged into Zoom. So these are the IP addresses. So they are human readable addresses that map to the IP address. IP address is like a number which we cannot remember, but it just gives one human readable address which we call as a domain name to every device on the internet. Then we have web browsers. Web browsers are, most of us use Chrome, then there is Internet Explorer, Firefox. So many different web browsers are available. They are basically used for accessing the different web pages on the internet. Then we have internet service providers. They are the companies that provide access to the internet. Suppose I want to take internet connection here, I need to have with BSNL, it's an internet service provider, or Airtel, or Vodafone. All these are internet service providers. They help to connect and gain access to the internet. So ISPs are internet service providers. Then we have web applications. So web applications are softwares which help run the web servers. Servers hold a lot of content which is shared across different computers which are connected on the internet. So these web servers, they hold all the web pages. We have to host, the web servers host all the web pages of different websites. So they run the applications. Web applications are the ones which run on web servers, and to access that we need web browsers. So web browsers are the ones through which we can access these software applications, which we call as web applications. And for creating these web applications, we use certain technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And so these are the ones which provide interactions for the users which are connected on the internet. Now, some of the web applications are like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. These are all web applications. They are social media platforms. Then we have e-commerce sites like we have Amazon, we have Flipkart, eBay, all of these. Then we have online banking websites. Every bank has their own website, whether it is an ICICI or SBI or Canara, they all have their own websites through which we can do internet banking. So they are also web applications. Then we have content management systems, or CMS, which is called as, like examples of WordPress, Joomla. We can create our websites using these content management systems. Then some technologies which are used for front end, creating the front end interaction to the user, that is through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Suppose I want to create an interaction like you have Zoom, right? When you log in, it has to create that interaction. Now I am seeing this Zoom, it is giving me so many options. It is giving me option to share my screen. It is giving me option to see the participants who are there, list of participants. It is allowing me to show my video. It is allowing me to share my audio. All this is the interface. So this interface is developed using either HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and so on. So backend side, whatever data management happens, that is done on the server side. And for that we use languages like PHP, Python, Ruby, Node.js, and so on. Then we have databases for basically storing the data and managing the data. And some of the database applications which we use are MySQL, MongoDB, Oracle, and so on. And then we have application programming interfaces. These are APIs. Like for example, now we all are aware of ChatGPT. Suppose I want to use an application like ChatGPT in my program, then I can use an API of ChatGPT. So that is used for interacting with other services. I can embed ChatGPT in my program, and that will be called as an API. So I must have an API of ChatGPT to integrate it into my program, and that is called as a application program interface. You would have seen, a lot of applications now coming up with AI like, chat GPT like tools in their programs, and that is done through APIs. So we'll take a short break, 5 minute break, and then we will come back. Now it is 11:58. We'll come back at 12:05, and we will continue with some more questions. Yes, is that okay? We'll discuss a few more concepts with some questions at 12:05. Yes, students, welcome back. So now we will be continuing, and we will be looking at a bit of binary arithmetic from now on. Yeah. Let's finish with a few questions before we start with binary arithmetic, which is a little thing that you should be aware of. Yeah, so front end, to develop front ends, we use these tools, that is CSS, which is, you need to know the expanded forms of these. CSS stands for cascading style sheets. And then HTML, hypertext markup language. This is used for developing the front ends. And yeah, have I shared my PPT? Hope I have. Yeah, let me just put it in slideshow mode. Yeah. And XML is extended markup language. So these expansion, it's good to know. You may get some question on this. So these are front-end development tools for internet usage. Then database applications, we have some applications like where, data is stored, and it manages storage and retrieval of the data, and examples for CRM data, the database application is Salesforce and HubSpot, customer relationship management softwares. And then we have enterprise resource planning softwares like SAP, Oracle, ERP, and so on. So ERP means enterprise resource planning. That is enterprise-wide for the entire organization. The data of the entire organization is managed by ERP softwares. Then inventory management, we have inventory management, various packages, applications are there for managing the inventory in organizations. And then health record system. So if you go to any patient management systems or health record system or any hospital healthcare units, then you can see electronically the data is managed, and they are called as electronic medical record systems or health record systems. And some database applications, these DBMS softwares that are, you have examples are SQL Server, Postgres SQL. So structured query language is used for extracting data from the databases. That is called as SQL, structured query language. Then there is something called NoSQL also. So NoSQL is a database that stores data in formats other than relational tables. So in database, usually in databases, the data is stored in the form of rows and columns, which we call as relational tables. So multiple such tables for different data is maintained, and then there is relationship which is established between one table to the other through a common column. Like for example, there is, let's say, student database and or a college database. In that we have student data, which is maintained in a separate table. Then there is faculty data maintained in a separate table, then staff data in a separate table, and all of these three are connected through the common columns in these tables. So that is, for very broadly speaking, what relational tables are. So if the data is not stored in the form of relational tables, then for querying such data, for extracting data from such databases, NoSQL is used. So they are basically stored in the form of cubes. We call them as cubes. And for cubical data, we use some query languages, NoSQL languages like MongoDB and Cassandra. Then data modeling is basically creating the structure of the database, how the data should be stored in the database. That is called as data modeling. Then we have information systems. Here we have MIS, management information systems, transaction processing systems. Like for example, you go for a reservation, train reservation or flight reservation. They are daily transactions which are handled. So transaction processing system, or you do some payments. They are also transaction processing systems which happen in real time, and it has to be very, very fast. Management information system, it is used for decision making. So all the data which is there, historical data from the past few years is used, and some analysis is done on that, and then that output is given, and through that decisions can be made. And MIS is used at different levels. When it is used as at the higher levels in the organization, for executive level in the organization, for problem solving purposes, it is called as decision support system, executive information system, and enterprise systems or ERP systems. So information system means it will have it includes the hardware, the software, the data, the people who are going to use that system, as well as the processes or procedures as to who should be given access to what data. That rules, that is also a part of the information system. Like you have business intelligence systems. So all these, where each user in the organization will be given access permission only to the data that is relevant to that person. So the top level, the CEO will have access to all the data, but a data entry operator will not have access to all the data. So that's how the processes or the procedures as to how the system should be run, that is a part of the part of the application systems or information systems. Now let's look at some questions. Which protocol is primarily used for transmitting web pages over the internet? So we discussed some of the protocols. So primarily, which protocol is used? So in this, it is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP. That is the correct answer. So we have someone responding. Very good, Pooja. HTTP, that is Hypertext Text Transfer Protocol. Now, what are the others? We will be looking at them also. FTP is File Transfer Protocol. Then we have the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So these protocols are used for transferring files, for sending mails and all that. All of them are built on the TCP/IP protocol, right? From the telecommunication protocol or internet protocol.